That camera and strap in. It's time for a new episode of TOGCHAT Live. Get ready for 60 minutes of wall-to-wall photography, including photo news, tips, and your photography questions in real time, with answers from your host, Olympus Visionary Joe Edelman.
Hey gang, it's Wednesday. It's Lockdown Wednesday. So it must be time for our weekly photography chat. Hey, thanks for joining me for a live YouTube edition of TOGCHAT. As you know, my mission is to help photographers like you to develop a better understanding of the hows and whys behind great photography. So before we get going, please do me a solid. I'm putting out a lot of content for you guys here. Let your photography friends. I know you guys are in different photography groups, photography clubs. You got buddies you go out and shoot with. Let your photography friends know that we are streaming live on YouTube right now. As always, Facebook, Twitter, they are the fastest way to get the word out. You can go ahead and you can hit that share button right down there. Yep. Or share the link that I just put in the chat window, tog.chat/live. And we've got people here from like all over the world. I see Trevor up in Canada. I've got Charles in Connecticut. I got Darklink in El Paso, William in Ottawa, Canada, Eric out in Ohio, Adam in California, Lynn from New York, Steve in Minnesota, another Joe in Michigan. It's actually really awesome as far as I'm concerned that we can bring people together from all over the world with a common interest and talk about photography. So please check in, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. And of course, start posting your questions. I got a few questions queued up, but we have got plenty of time here to be able to answer questions for you guys. So type them into the window, into the chat window there, and I will do my best to get to them as we go through the show tonight, right? So bear with me for 1 second here, gang. I am going to go ahead and get my screen set up. Anthony Clark, thank you so much, man, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Couple questions that came in early. Let's go ahead and hit those first. In fact, Anthony's happened to be one of them, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with his. We'll make that the first one tonight. So Anthony asked me, when did you deep down to yourself know that you were good at photography? Not when people say you're good, but to me there's a big difference, he says. Maybe I'm talking about your confidence as a photographer. You know, it's interesting, Anthony. I don't have like a solid, this was the moment answer. You know, there are things that happen throughout, or I should say, there are things that have happened throughout my career that have kind of been reassurances that, hey, I'm headed in the right direction, that, hey, I'm doing the right thing. I remember probably the second roll of film that I ever shot. I took a picture of my father. It was sunset. It was golden hour. He was sitting in a long chair in front of our house. He had just finished cutting the grass. He was tired. He worked in a factory all day long. You know, scruffy face, messed up hair. And he's sitting down smoking a cigarette. And I took a shot, I remember, with PlusX ASA 125 film. And it's just awesome. Like, it was awesome. It struck me as, whoa, like, really cool. So that would have been like very early, 2 rolls in. Not to say that, oh, I was really good, but just like, wow, I can do something that is good, that is cool. I didn't know if it was really great. I didn't know if it would win an award or get published. But to me, I was like, wow, really good, you know. And then when I was 14, I got my first picture published in a newspaper. Really good. Wow, there's my byline, right? So it's kind of like little things like that throughout my career. But I honestly, I don't have kind of a one moment where it just all came together and I was like, yeah, like, I'm that good. And part of it is, and again, it's not the modesty thing, gang. It's really important that you understand that. I still don't think that I'm all that great. And that's because there's so much that I wish I could do there's so much creativity that I see, especially, now that we have this thing called the internet, which is amazing. There's so much creativity that I see that I'm just like, wow, my mind is not wired that way. It doesn't see the world that way. And I wish it did. So, it's a balance. It's not anxiety. It's nothing like that. I mean, you do have to find a careful balance if you are going to continue to push yourself. And this is for all photographers. If you're going to continue to push yourself to improve and not kind of let yourself, shall we say, get too big for your britches and think that you're better than what you are, you have to continually, find the flaws in what you're doing and look for ways to improve without losing your confidence, without starting to develop an anxiety over what you can or can't do. But I really didn't have like this one moment where everything was kind of like, oh, really cool. Sorry. Next one I got here is from Dan Harris. He asks, when the world ceases to be chaos, is the world ever actually not chaos? But I know what you mean, Dan. And by the way, oh my God, pause. Sorry, let me back up. Can we pretend that we're going to go back in time just a couple of moments here really quick? Probably like 5 minutes. First of all, thank all of you for being here. But most importantly, 3 things. 1, I hope that you are all safe. 2, I hope that you are all healthy. And 3, I hope that you're all practicing social distancing, because if we don't all pitch in and do our part, this chaos, as Dan calls it, is just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse, right? So anyway, that being said, my apologies for not mentioning that right at the top of the show. So Dan's question, when the world ceases to be chaos, I would like to do some photo shoots. I think we all would at this point. I mean, I'm enjoying my abstracts, but I would love to have a pretty face back in front of my camera. And we're about to go on lockdown in Pennsylvania, like total lockdown is what the rumor is. So the challenge that I have is Lola is 20 minutes away. I can't even get her here, right? His question is, what are the basic steps for preparation? That way I don't look like a fumbling idiot. I'd like to get into fitness photo shoots, on location sort of thing. I was also asked to do animal photos at a local shelter for adoption photos, business headshots, but with wagging tails. Okay, so, Dan, actually, based on your question and the way you've worded it, it sounds like you actually haven't done a lot of fitness photo shoots. It sounds like you haven't done a lot of fitness photo shoots on location. It sounds like you haven't done a lot of animal photos and headshots with wagging tails. So the best way for you to prepare at this point is, as soon as we are able to get out and move around, and as soon as we're able to interact again, you need to go shoot these things. Practice them. Don't read so much about them. Is there prep? Yeah, there's prep for any and every kind of image that you're ever going to take. If you're going to do it right, there's a certain amount of prep to do it, okay? But based on your question, you actually just need to go try these things. Reading about it is not going to get you to a point where you're going to be able to walk in and do good work. And so honestly, that's the best answer I can give you on that question. And I got another one here that actually follows up on the fitness stuff from Doug. How do you how do you light a fitness shoot to highlight strong abs? Cross lighting. How do you get strong abs and keep the face soft? How would you add any water or baby oil to the abs? Any post-processing tips you could do? So first of all, you use cross lighting, okay? Generally, Doug, you don't need the face to be soft if you're doing fitness stuff. So I'm not sure what you mean by the word soft, right? You usually don't do a fitness shot and then have like beauty lighting, right? You just don't. But I will point out to you, it's one of my older ones. So let me just hop on down here to my YouTube channel. I'm going to switch my screen over. If you go to my channel and type in, and I'll copy the link for you guys here, type in the word fitness in the little magnifying glass, how to shoot a fitness magazine cover shot, that classic kind of white background, high key look. Check out that video, and also this direct flash video. It's done in swimsuits, but it kind of mentions a little bit of the techniques that are involved and what you need to do there, so that would help you out. So check out those two. they'll definitely kind of help get you a start for what you need to do there. All right. And let's see, I had a couple others here on my Facebook group. So actually, Vladimir asked, I'd like to know how to get a great studio shot with just one strobe. Check that last video that I just pasted in there. And Vladimir, actually, a lot of my videos show single flash lighting, some with umbrellas, some with soft boxes. So honestly, if you go back through quite a few of my videos, you're going to see one light lighting, okay? Adam asked the question here. He's looking for advice, and this is basically, generally speaking, not during the lockdown, right? What can you do to get business as an independent creative concept artist showcasing in the digital medium? Adam, it almost sounds like you're somebody with an MFA. I'm not going to lie, because that really sounds like MFA speed to me. But MFA, folks, Master of Fine Arts. Sorry. So I'm not sure exactly what an independent creative concept artist is, but I interpret that to be a artist and or maybe photographer who is basically doing digital compositing and digital creation. And then you're asking me, how can you do business by showcasing your work in a digital format? Aside from teaching it, Adam, which is also part of why I'm curious if you're an MFA, I'm not sure how you would actually do business with that, because people are generally not going to pay for your art unless you can give them something tangible, right? So it's not like digitally you're able to give them something to hang on the wall. So digitally you could educate them. If, Adam, you want to give me a little bit more background as to exactly what it is that an independent creative concept artist who wants to showcase in digital medium does, to clarify that for me, I will absolutely do my best to kind of give you some ideas. I am great with entrepreneurial ideas, but I need a little better understanding of what's going on there. Okay? All right, so I'm going to scroll back up here to the list for the stuff that's in the chat here. And again, a lot of you have been, typing in good wishes for health and safety. I appreciate that, and obviously the same to you. I can't stress it enough. I went to the I did the old people shopping at the supermarket today. My wife is a few years older than me, so she's 65. I just turned 60. The supermarkets here in Pennsylvania, a lot of them are doing the first hour of the day for folks 60 and up. So I hate being in the old folks crowd, but figured, hey, why not? So we went at like 6:30 a.m. this morning, and it really surprised me just how people are not behaving. There were 2 police officers that were breaking pretty much every social distancing rule in the book with patrons of the store plus employees. There were employees in the store. It was really kind of crazy. I'm not a sky is falling kind of person, but I've been following all of this stuff since January. Not on the news, because our news wasn't really reporting it that much. But when I first heard about it, I read an article very, very early on from the CDC, Center for Disease Control here in the U.S., and that article also at the time referenced the World Health Organization. So I was curious and happened to read about it. It's like, wow, they were making these crazy predictions. And as it started to build momentum, and as our media unfortunately started to weaponize it politically, I decided, you know what, no more media for me. I just check in with the CDC and World Health Organization daily. And, interestingly enough, here we are like 3 months later from the time that I first read their reports, and everything that they've predicted has really been spot on. And they continue to be spot on. So to me, it was just really surprising, unfortunately, how many people aren't taking the proper precautions. So please be smart. Especially with photography. I got to be honest with you. I've seen some photographers, local photographers here in my area, this past weekend doing photo shoots, which, in the state of Pennsylvania, we, are not supposed to be doing that. And in many states in this country, we're not supposed to be doing that. And it's stupidity. It's absolute stupidity. So please don't be that person, not until you've been given the all clear from your local government or local health officials, because, as a community, we have to take care of this. So anyway, Michael, I must say, I'm sorry, that's not actually a question. My apologies. But anyway, I must say, although I haven't had time to participate, your stuck-at-home videos have been truly inspirational. The egg was amazing. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you guys don't know about the stuck-at-home videos, really? Where the heck have you been? No, I'm kidding. But I'm doing this series of videos. I'm going to grab you guys a link here to the playlist. And that way, I'll give you the link so you can go in and basically you can see the whole series, starting with the first one that introduced it. So it's the Stuck-at-Home Photography Challenge. I'm putting out a video a day, Monday through Friday. I'm taking the weekends off. And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of regretting that I decided to do a video a day, but I'm going to keep at it. Right? People are enjoying it, and I'm actually enjoying the challenge. It's just, the editing part is just brutal. But I'm doing minimal editing. I'm getting it down to a science where I can actually get it done in the course of a day. Today's video actually is uploading to YouTube as we speak right now. So that'll be launching right after TOGCHAT is done, about a half an hour after TOGCHAT. That'll go live tonight, so look for that. Yeah, I mean, I encourage all of you, even if you can't do it daily, pick up your camera, make sure you're shooting, experimenting, practicing. This is a great opportunity, since if you follow me, you're probably a people shooter. This is a great opportunity to be able to step outside your box and not to be constrained by the same boundaries and guidelines and rules that you generally are. And you'll be amazed, number one, how therapeutic it is, but number two, how much you can learn. You really, really can. The learning curve, it changes completely when you do something like that. And honestly, I've been having a lot of fun. So Adam gave me a follow-up here on his question. So this was the statement about the independent creative concept artist showcasing in a digital medium. His response was, digital concept artist, creating original concepts with photography and some post-production is needed to execute a concept. My execution needs improving. My final result looks great, though, as independent art. Adam, I am really curious. Are you an MFA? What is your background? No, because it actually, Adam, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's why I'm pushing back. I want to help you out. You're using a lot of big fancy words. Like, can we skip the fancy words? Okay, like completely. All right. A picture should be an original concept in the first place. So, with photography and some post-production, it sounds to me actually like it's with some photography and a lot of post-production. Okay, but give me an idea of a concept, like spell it out for me. And then tell me why you do it in the first place. If I know why you do it, I might be able to help you make some money with it. But honestly, it sounds like something that you learned in art school. I'm just being honest, because you're using a bunch of fancy words. There are certain words, gang, that are marketing words. They're big and they're fluff and they sound cool. And you string them all together and people are like, whoa, right? Let's get to the meat and potatoes, Adam. I want to help you, but man, you got to give me something to chew on, right? Because you just giving me a bunch of big fancy labels, right? So give me some meat and potatoes, and I'll help you. Or even you're part of my Facebook group, and I have the Facebook group open right now. So if you want to add a link in the thread to the kind of thing you're talking about, show me one of your images that you do, or if you have a website, give me that link in there, and I will check it out now, and I will gladly try to help you out. So I literally am staring at your post right now. It will go ahead and it'll pop up if you give me some information, okay? All right, so scrolling on back here, where are we at? Adam, I hope you will find me a link. Seriously, I want to try and help you out, okay? I knew I had one. Where are we at? Let's see. Ajax, love how you stay busy and productive through this. It's a couple of things. One, somebody's got to do it, and I think it's important to do, because I don't especially given my age, where I'm at, I'm not supposed to be out and about. We're supposed to be locked down, which sucks. So it's not like I can go out and help. So it's an opportunity for me to do something and be productive. And to be honest with you, gang, I'm a news junkie. If I'm not staying busy, I'm going to sit and watch the news and probably go stark raving mad. So this is definitely a little bit more work than I thought it was going to be, but I'm thrilled. And so, I'm in it for the long haul. We're going to make this work, okay? So, all right, what do we have here? And scrolling down. Question from Eric. How long did it take you to make the breaking of the light bulb image? So if you don't know what he's talking about, it's the picture that's on the cover. I'm going to try and work it out so that next week I can actually share with you exactly how I did it, Eric. So I'm not going, because I have the gadget that I built. It is a DIY gadget that I built to do it. So I did that image twice in my life. The first time I was a teenager. I was 16 years old. And I did it literally with a friend. We collected a bunch of burnout light bulbs, and we just laid them on some black burlap. And one had a hammer, one was at the camera, and we did like 1, 2, 3, right? And we broke probably 60 bulbs before we got a picture of the bulb exploding. Not very efficient, and it just looked sloppy. But it was cool that we caught it exploding. So then about probably mid-20s, I came up with this idea using a Vivitar 283 flash to be able to make it work. And built this little gadget. And the trigger is extremely basic and rudimentary, because keep in mind, when I was in my mid-20s, this was like 1985, 1986, we didn't have all like the laser triggers and the sound triggers and all that kind of stuff yet. Some of that stuff was available in the science world, but way out of my price range. I didn't have access to that. So I came up with this really, really simple, really brilliant way of doing it. I did the shot in black and white, and with this gadget that I built, I could get the shot every single try. Every light bulb that broke, I would get the shot, with one exception. If you notice in that picture, it's a ball peen hammer. That's the hammer with the round head, and a light bulb is round. So if I didn't have the bulb balanced just right, the hammer would come down, hit the bulb would shoot across the room and break on the floor. That was the only exception. But otherwise, as long as the hammer broke the bulb on the platform, I got a shot every single time. Fast forward to about 2002 or 3, which is when that picture was taken, the one that's on the cover. I recreated the exact same setup, which I still have the piece of it that I want to dig out of the garage and show you guys next week. I ran into one problem, though. In that 15 or almost 20 years time span, they started adding a coating to the outside of incandescent light bulbs to protect them from breaking. They still can break, but it's a lot harder to break them. So the problem I was running into, like, I would have this bulb set up and balanced, and I was dropping the hammer, and the bulb wouldn't break. Dropping the hammer. The hammer would just, like, stop dead on top of the bulb, and it wouldn't break. So I was literally, like, having to slam the hammer down and, get my hand out of the way and try to. So it was a little bit tough to actually get the bulb to break, but it works. So, and again, as long as you get the bulb to break, you can catch the shot every single time. It's completely homemade, totally DIY'd, really, really basic and really rudimentary. So my hope is to be able to share all of that next week. So I will gladly share it. Okay. So yeah, that light bulb thing, though, it's kind of stuck with me throughout my life. I first did it as a teenager. So, Adam shared me a link here. Awesome. Okay. And he's in school. Okay, yep. So, hey, Adam, seriously, I mean, I get it, right? The language that you're using, that's MFA speak, Masters of Fine Arts. So maybe it's not yours, but it came from your professor. Funny how I know this stuff. I spend too much time with academics, gang. It either had to be marketing hype or MFAs. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. So in terms of the digital concept art, so what he sent me, and actually Adam, do me a favor, just type into the YouTube chat, if you would. Do you mind if I share the photo that you posted into the Facebook group here on TOGCHAT? just let me know if it's okay that I share that, and then I will go ahead and explain my response, because I actually do have a couple suggestions for you, okay? This image prompted one idea as soon as I saw it, okay? Good, so Adam says I can share it. So here we go. Let me switch over to the web browser here. Let me take Eric's questions off. So this is the shot that he showed me. So Adam, right out of the box, this is like stock imagery, right? Now, the tough part is it's hard to generate a lot of income there, but what you would potentially be able to do is generate kind of more custom concept art. So what you would need to do, Adam, is you would need, wherever you're located, you would need to find companies in your area that would use detailed product shots or concept site shots in their marketing and advertising. And then there's two ways to approach it. You will probably have a harder time working directly with a company because the company probably doesn't do their own marketing. They probably have an advertising agency that handles that for them. So your challenge is going to be to find out who their advertising agency is, right? The bigger the company, the easier it is to find out who their advertising agency is. Because the bigger the company, especially when you get into the Fortune 500, well, I should say maybe the Fortune 250 and the Fortune 100 companies, they will generally send out press releases basically announcing this is our agency of record. And so that's public information that you can search and you can find really, really easy. And because in part, it's a bragging thing to say, this is the agency that we're hiring to do our work. The agency would be the person or the people responsible for hiring the artist to generate, that kind of work, right? So that's the stuff that I would start to look into is to research, those venues a little bit. So. Charles Unitas. That's not concept art, that's concept photography. You know what, this is one image, Charles. So, I can totally see where he's headed with this. And to be clear, now that I understand what Adam's situation is, in terms of the way this would be taught in school, in like a digital art class or that type of thing, it totally fits. So, I don't disagree with you, Charles, in terms of the way I perceive it. But I will support Adam in that, no, this is, all basically digital concept art. Because the other thing you have to keep in mind, Charles, we don't have cameras anymore. We have computers that are digital, that we attach lenses to, and they are able to create photographs. And in order to take photography from a film-based medium to a computer-based medium, the camera companies try to mirror as much of the film medium's processes as possible. And as we have seen over the last 20 years, we are now getting further and further and further away from film mediums. So, Charles, there is a phrase that I use, and I will remind you of this, okay, because we're not going to debate this in my classroom, so you're just going to have to deal with it. The world evolves. Art evolves. Photography evolves. We all know how evolution worked out for dinosaurs. None of us should be a dinosaur. We have to understand that things change. The world evolves. In your piece of the world, Charles, for the work that you're doing, if that is concept photography, that's awesome. Adam is in school. He's taking a class. He has to worry about getting a grade. And I completely understand why they're calling what he's doing concept art. Keep in mind, we're seeing one image. One. Okay? So, Adam, I think definitely based on what you're telling me here, you need to be looking at advertising agencies, digital marketing agencies. The bigger the better, because that's where you'll get to where there's real money. Smaller agencies, smaller companies, they're not going to have functional budgets very often for this type of work. So if that's really where you want your focus to be, where you're using your photography, you're doing concept work and concept art, and kind of very specialized, very detailed type things, then yeah, you want to go for the bigger agencies. Hands down, that's going to be the way to do it. Okay? All right. So from Randy here, I'm thinking about purchasing a secondhand Canon 1DX MK2. What would be an acceptable shot count without perhaps having any problems or expensive repair costs? Oh, wow. Randy, I have no idea. So here's what you need to research, though. You need to research what is the expected shutter actuations of that model camera. So you're going to have to Google it, do a little bit of research. So like for instance, Olympus just released the OMD EM1 Mark III. So the shutter, and this is of course a mirrorless camera, you're talking about a DSLR, right? But the shutter for the EM1 Mark III is rated at 400,000 shutter actuations. The reality of it is it will probably go way beyond that, but that 400,000 number is much higher than what your Canon 1DX Mark II would have been. So do a Google search and look for that information. What is the life expectancy of the shutter in the 1DX Mark II, and then you're going to know. And obviously, it's simply a matter of what is your comfort level, right? You need to kind of look at how much do you shoot, how many frames can you expect to go through in a year or whatever. And then are you willing to spend that much money for the possibility of needing to, repair that camera, in that period of time. So, okay. All right. From, let's see here. Sato, assuming that your grandson has Lego. Oh my God, my grandson is a Lego fiend. The older one, he is a Lego fiend. And you have a Savage Seamless Paper color chart. Could you do me a massive favor? Recommend me a Savage Gray that's dark but different from Lego Light and Dark Gray. I can try. You'll have to come back and ask me next week. Well, actually, no. You don't. What am I saying next week? I'm not going to see him this weekend. I can't see my grandson right now. So unfortunately, I don't have his Legos here, and we're not able to visit with them other than I see him on FaceTime every day right now. So if you give me a couple weeks, I can try and help you out with that. But yeah, right now, unfortunately, I don't have a way to come up with that. So, Zibru, gosh, I hope I didn't butcher that too much. I'm sorry. Do you think that a 3D printer can save you money on a lot of accessories or tools? Do I have one? I do not have one. Do I think that it can save you money on a lot of accessories? So there's a 3-letter word there that's the hook. Lot. No, definitely not. Some accessories? Yeah, sure. If you spend a little bit of time on Google, right? That's this cool internet website, Google, Google like 3D here, just to prove this. So I'm not going to lie. It's a bit of a lazy question, right? So the answer is simply, can you find enough accessories to make it worth your while, right? That's the answer. So 3D printed photography accessories, right? So no rocket science in that one there. And so, first thing that comes up, oh my gosh, look, there's only 122 million results to that question, right? So there's a lot of stuff that here's all kind of articles. But what you're going to find, and trust me, I've looked at this stuff before, most of it's like niche things, like little bits and pieces, kind of oddballs. So the problem of it is, unless you are really good with CAD design and you're going to create all your own stuff, I don't know that it would actually be worth the cost of buying a printer for the few things that you're going to be able to make. That's the challenge. Now, if you have other needs, other desires, other wishes for the 3D printer, well, then maybe that, expands on it, okay? But just for the sake of the photography stuff, I don't know that a 3D printer is going to save you any money in all reality. I don't think it will, okay? So let's see here. And sliding on up. And where are we at here? Jessica Myers. I'm loving the Stuck at Home Challenge as well. Thank you for doing this. You're very welcome. I haven't posted in the Facebook group yet because nothing has turned out exactly how I wanted, but it's been really fun. And I see that a couple people followed up. Jessica, that's exactly why you should be posting. You should be, if you notice, Jessica, I don't know if you've ever watched any of my live image reviews, but you should maybe go watch a couple. When people are bragging like, oh, I love my shot, oh, it's amazing, oh, it's perfect, I could care less. I didn't take it. I wasn't there. I don't know the person in the picture. Why should I care? I mean, honestly, why should I care? I do the reviews to help people. So your key phrase here, nothing has turned out exactly how I wanted. Jessica, that is why I do the image reviews. Post your image, make sure you follow all the guidelines, answer all the questions. Let me know what you wanted it to turn out like or what you were hoping for, and then I will take my experience and I will do my best to help you solve the problem. That's the whole idea. So that's the perfect situation to be posting. And it's interesting, folks. I will tell you, I've heard from quite a few people this week that they really struggle with this abstract stuff. And it's interesting because it's kind of a psychological thing. You photograph a portrait. Okay, it's a picture of a person. That's pretty obvious, right? Somebody just said, what's the link for the Facebook group? I can help you with that one. Let me get that one right here. Bear with me one sec. And there it is. Now, for those of you that are just finding out about the Facebook group now, make sure you answer all 3 questions when you go to sign up. And once you're approved and you're a member of the group, make sure you watch the welcome video before you post or your image will be deleted. It's cut and dry. Black and white, no ifs, ands, or buts, right? So, anyway, I've had a lot of people telling me, I really struggle with this abstract stuff. Because think about it, portraits, that's obvious. Got to photograph a car, that's obvious. Got to photograph a building, that's obvious, right? But now it's like, let's take an everyday object and let's make it look like something completely different. Or let's photograph a piece of it in a very abstract way. And people are like, and that's why, folks, just so you know, that's why I started on week 1 with the macro lens. And why I also showed folks, even if you don't have a macro lens or close-up filters or extension tubes, you can still do macro shots. Flip your lens around, right? But the reason why I started with that is because when you get that close, things start to take on a whole different feel. They start to look different. They start to feel different, right? So here, I'll go ahead and I'll share, for those of you that haven't been to my Flickr. In fact, here's the link for my Flickr account, okay? There we go. So, little preview, since you guys haven't seen the video yet. The video is not live yet. Here are the shots from today. It's simply a pair of scissors and a white mug. For those of you that have been asking me, what about the out of focus? What about the out of focus? There's an out of focus one. Watch the video. You'll learn more, okay? So, these are today's. From yesterday, the water bottles. Okay? So these shots are a little bit more kind of obvious in terms of what they are, right? I mean, you can look at them, you can figure out, okay, it's a water bottle. Here are my egg photos from a few days ago. That was my favorite of the eggs right there, okay? There's the floating egg. That's the picture that caused me to drop the egg on my camera. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to be following me on social media. I literally dropped an egg and crashed it right on top of the hot shoe of the EM1 Mark III. Here's the loofah sponge. All right, so these are all the ones that I've posted for the videos for the Stuck at Home Challenge. Okay, these were the bonus shots of the water bottle. The day that I did the loofah sponge, that's the bottom of the bottle. This is the water drops on the car. So far, these have all been done with macro lenses. However, this shot and this shot are not done with a macro lens. It's just the lens flipped around and held in front of the camera. Okay? And this was day 2, which was the Apple TV remote cover and the bottle of Purell hand sanitizer. And then the very first day, which was the /foot scrubber massager thing from the shower. Okay? So, part of it is just getting to a point where you are willing to go in a completely different direction and look at something very, very differently. So Jessica, don't be afraid. Like, dive in. And as long as you take the time to give me the answers to those questions and do your own self-evaluation, help me understand what it is you didn't accomplish. I can help you, and I can give you really, really useful reviews in that way. So, okay. Let's see. Scrolling back up here. I know I saw a bunch of stuff come in. Gift Heart. I have a question about eye size. I watched a video by you where you said that most people's eyes are different sizes. Oh, no, that's not what I said. You got that wrong, Gif. I said everyone's eyes are different sizes. If you ever meet a person who's completely symmetrical and has two eyes that are exactly the same size, it would probably be a good idea to run. Don't walk. Run. Because the aliens have arrived. They're here. Okay? How are you determining which eye is smaller? Really? I look at them. I simply look at them, right? Notice with my glasses, if you look at the screen, so because I have magnifying lens and one set of eyes, if you notice with my glasses, this eye looks much bigger. Oh, sorry, this eye looks much smaller. I'm looking in the screen here. This eye looks much smaller than this eye, right? If I take my glasses off, now it's a different result. But the fact is, everybody has one eye that's smaller or larger, period. And you just look at them. That's how I determine it. Really simple, okay? Let's see. And from Lath. When you're struggling for inspiration, what do you do or recommend to get the juices flowing again? Well, so there's a couple of things, all right? When you're struggling for inspiration, remember, I'm old school. I come from the generation where you were basically told to get your head out of your butt and deal with it, right? Anxiety and that kind of stuff, or, not a thing. That being said, when I'm struggling for inspiration, the first thing that I ask myself is, should I be doing this at all? I'll give you a perfect example, because it happened today. Seriously, literally, it happened today. The two objects that I photographed today, the white mug and the pink scissors. Last week, on my last trip to the studio, before we got locked down, I brought a bunch of stuff home. And I happened to throw a bunch of the things that were on the top of my desk into a Pelican case and drag them home. Part of that was that white mug, and in it were a whole bunch of pens and the scissors. Because I've been doing these videos every day and my time has just been shot, that case has been sitting at the bottom of my stairs, open, since last week. So every day I walk down the stairs and that mug with the scissors is sitting there. I walked downstairs this morning with honestly no idea what I was going to photograph today. None. I'm honestly really wishing I could use my macro lens again, because for me, the abstract work is so much easier with a macro lens. But I promised everybody it's Nifty 50 week, so I'm being completely transparent. I said, hey, it's Nifty 50 week, and then I immediately started regretting it. It's like, oh, damn it. Nifty 50 is like fun if I'm outdoors and that, but it's still cold, it's still windy, and we're not supposed to be mingling with people, so I'm living indoors as much as possible, right? I was tempted to go outside and do some stuff, but the last 2 days it's been really windy here, so from a sound and audio standpoint, it would have been nightmarish. So literally as I walked down the stairs this morning with no idea what I was going to photograph, I was going to go walk downstairs to the studio in the basement and hope that I could have something jump out at me. I saw the pink and the white and said, that's it, done. So I pulled them out of the case, walked downstairs and set it up and said, okay, I'm going to work with this. But the first question that I asked myself as I was being frustrated walking down the stairs is, do I need to find a way out of doing this daily challenge? Did I bite off too much? Should I not do it? Because I was feeling like I didn't have the motivation for an idea. That's the first question I always ask myself, right? If I'm not feeling motivated as a photographer in general, the first question I'm asking myself is it time to quit? And then I ask myself, could I imagine my life without it? That usually solves my problem. And then it's a matter of, okay, what can I get, what can I do? So for me, part of it is, Lath, it's habits. So I don't run into this problem that you're describing very often because I have these habits. Every day when I walk my two dogs, I have lived in this neighborhood now for, I believe, 11 years. It is 10 or 11 years. I walk these two dogs 1 mile in the morning, 1 mile in the evening, and we do the exact same path. So that's twice a day, every day that I'm home for a full year, times 10 or 11 years. Obviously, it's really boring because the neighborhood doesn't change that much. So what do? In order to keep my sanity and to make it interesting for me, I don't take a camera, but I look for pictures. I just look at things, details. And in my mind, I'm looking at lighting, I'm imagining exposure, I am just looking at possibilities, what make an interesting photo. And I never take these photos because there's been a few times where I've seen something like, oh my God, I gotta run home and I gotta grab a camera. And of course, by the time I get back, the lights change or whatever, it's not there. So this is literally just a mental exercise. And the best part of it is it does get the mind back into looking and creating and thinking. But honestly, whenever you find yourself that way, one of the first things to do is just question, are you still doing what you should be doing? I mean that sincerely, okay? It's not about giving up, but, so. Eric, there's always one. Is there a specific time you've been posting your challenge videos? Yes. The specific time? When they're done. Like, literally, Eric, I'm sorry, man, okay? They're a ton of work. When they get done, they get done. So that's honestly the answer, all right? I've only had a couple that have gone up before 5 o'clock. Most of them have gone up in the evening. It's a lot of work. So I'm glad to be doing it. I mean, I really am, but it's just a lot of work. It eats up a whole day, okay? Viking Reborn, do I see live composite being adopted by their manufacturers? Maybe under a different name, but Olympus owns that name. Olympus owns the patents. So, could other manufacturers come out with something similar? Sure. With regards to, do you multiply the file size by the number of exposures it took? No. It's all doing this with software. It's making one file, one exposure, done. So, yeah, it's an amazing feature. I will tell you, Viking Reborn, next week, I don't know which day yet, I'll be able to, if you watch my social media, I'll start talking about this on Friday on my social media. Next week, I'm going to be doing a live stream for Olympus on the Get Olympus Facebook page. And it's going to be about live composites. So live, I'm going to do a series of live composite images to show people not only how it works, but also part of the stay-at-home challenge, just things that you can do at home with this feature. So if you want to kind of see it in real time and see how it's happening, make sure you tune in for that. So watch my social over the weekend, and I'll be sharing the times and the links and that kind of stuff. So let's see here, scrolling on up. Let's see. And what is this conversation we're having about zoom lens here? All right, so let's do this one first. FN89, do you know where to find a reverse lens adapter for the EM1 Mark II and the Amsweco 12 to 42.8? No. Sorry. Start, with your local camera retailer. If they can't find it for you, because keep in mind, they can order stuff, right? Just saying. Most of your local camera retailers here in the U.S., they're open. You just can't walk in, but they're there. So if you call them, you can get help, and I'm sure they'd be glad to order one for you. Or if not, of course, there's always B&H and Amazon and that type of stuff. But now I didn't use a lens adapter. If you watched my video, I just held my hand there. I mean, to go buy an adapter, you have to ask yourself, how often are you going to do this, right? If you're planning to do a lot of macro, don't reverse your lens. You have like zero depth of field, right? It's one of those things where you can have some fun with it every now and then, but it's not a substitute for a macro lens long term. And plus, the Olympus macro lenses are really, really reasonably priced. So you kind of got to look at it like, well, how often am I going to flip this lens around, right? You just do. So somebody said here, oh, Eric, does flipping the lens around work with zoom lenses as well or only primes? Eric, a lens is a lens. So yeah, you can flip it if you want. Okay, so let's see. Use wide angle zooms actually make things smaller instead of bigger. That is correct. Right, so actually, and David made a good point here. I talked about this in the video. So when I was doing this with my car, I mentioned that. Work with the shorter zooms, the wide angle, because they will magnify more. If you're working with a telephoto zoom like a 70-200, it's not gonna magnify to the degree that you want. So work with the shorter zooms, when you do that. So, all right here. Let's see, scrolling up. I think I still had a couple more. So, Sato, do I know where you can get a color chart in the Netherlands? Unfortunately, I don't. Google, man. Like, do you have Amazon in the Netherlands? If you have Amazon, order on Amazon. If you don't have a local camera store, I'm not from the Netherlands, so I'm sorry, I don't have an option there. So, okay. Let's see. Is this supposed to be Method Man or Metod Man? Not sure. Okay. I'd like to know about the general rule, how to choose the right size softbox, octabox, beauty dish according to the power of the strobe, and used aperture range like 2.8 to 5.6. So actually, that's not why you pick your softbox. So unfortunately, you're thinking about it all wrong. You don't pick your modifier based upon your aperture or the power of your strobe. You pick your modifier based upon the kind of light output you want in terms of the shape, in terms of the size. That's how you pick your modifier. Okay. Let's see, David, certain Fuji lenses will not work with a flip around. Well, Fuji, 4-letter word. Did I just go there? Sorry, I had to say that. But David, I'm curious, why won't they work with a flip around? I'd love to know why. Please tell me why. Okay. Let's see. Anthony Clark, what am I sharing the link to? I see your question there. So, all right, scrolling back here. I know there was some back up here towards the beginning that I missed. I still got a couple minutes, folks. If you got any, Orthus, I have a Canon with an APS-C sensor. My apologies. My sympathies. Kidding. I'm kidding. I'm getting punchy. It's been a rough week already, right? Is a 50 millimeter lens long enough for waist-up portraits and headshots? Absolutely. That's basically a 75 millimeter equivalent. So APS-C, if we're going to compare it to full frame, 1.5 times. Absolutely long enough. Yes, you can totally work with that. Okay. So what's this here that I got down at the end from Darko? Just tried my 19 millimeter Vivitar MC mount, and wow, it's really cool, macro galore. But my 60 millimeter f2.4 Fuji macro lens is a lot more stable to hold. Well, of course it is, right? So because it's a macro lens, that's the whole idea. But yeah. So again, I showed that stuff. I showed that stuff in the video the other day. So Hans, first time here, welcome. New to photography, welcome. What is my best advice for a beginner? Seriously? Get off of YouTube. Stop watching YouTube videos. Go pick up your damn camera and take pictures. Thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures. And for every picture that sucks, spend the time and look at it and ask yourself, why? You don't have to know how to fix it even, but just ask, why does it suck? And then work on fixing it. And then when you stumble upon a problem that you can't fix, then you go to YouTube and you look up this guy named Joe Edelman. And you look at his videos for the solutions. And then you get off of YouTube and you go take more pictures. But seriously, like, no jokes. No jokes. That was my dead serious advice. If you're a beginner and you're looking for good advice for a beginner, get the heck off of YouTube. It is just going to screw you up. Because the problem is you don't know what you don't know, and you're going to find a lot of bozos with hot air on YouTube telling you what you should know, and they're all wrong. Even me. Because you don't know what you need to know yet because you haven't taken enough pictures. That's why. Okay? So, all right. Here we go. Let's see here. Scrolling on up. I was waiting for information on somebody here. What is it? Joe's Photography. When you flip a macro lens around, does it get even closer or does it do the reverse? No, it gets... if you flip a macro lens around. Joe, I've never actually flipped the macro lens, of all things, because when I had a macro lens, I didn't need to flip it. So I haven't tried it. So try it. So Alvin, you're killing me, man. Like, Joe, I just saw the blurry abstract. Now I understand, but I thought you said you did blurry nudes. Yeah, Alvin, this is freaking YouTube, man. How am I going to post blurry nudes on YouTube? Do you want me banned from YouTube? You might have noticed it. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, they don't like nudes. So yes, I've shot nudes, but I'm not going to prove it to you on social media. Come on, man. Like, Alvin, I told you I'm going to do a video about it. I mentioned it today. Wait until the video comes out, okay? Patience, folks. Patience, patience, patience. I'll get there. I'm doing a video a day on this stuff. I made you a promise. I'll keep my promise. Relax. But I can't post nude pictures. Duh. Yeesh. All right. Come on, guys. Let's see. Come on, guys. I got time for maybe 2 more here. Let's see. David's telling me actually the Canon APS-C is a 1.6 crop. So there you go. 1.6. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that'll be great for portraits. Okay. And scrolling up here, I was waiting on somebody to type back an answer. And did I miss the answer or not? Let's see. Lane, I don't shoot portraits, man. I shoot fashion, fantasy, beauty shots. My wife is a college professor that doesn't like being in front of the camera. Otherwise, don't you think I would have photographed her many, many times over? Okay? I'm taking pictures for you guys. Like, just saying. Okay? All right, he did. So where was the piece that I was missing? Somebody wanted the Olympus Facebook page. Oh, forget Olympus. That's what you were after. Okay. Thank you, Adam. Here, let me get you that link. And I will share that with you guys. So the information's not there yet. We're going to be doing a meeting tomorrow to determine the exact day and time, but it'll be next week for sure. I'm going to pre-record pieces of it, but hopefully everything's going to be done live. That's really the plan. So, yeah, look for that next week. And just follow me on social. I'll be posting about it. As soon as I have the date and time, I'll be posting about it. So on my 2 days off this weekend from doing the Stuck at Home Challenge, I'm going to create all the content, practice some ideas, get some stuff together to be able to do this live stream next week. I'll record a couple of pieces in advance, but then the rest of it, we're going to do it live. So it's pretty much wall-to-wall, nonstop. We're creating educational content right now, okay? So, and actually, just to, since I got a couple people here getting really pushy on things that I said I would do, which I'll do, and they just can't wait. I also want to give you folks a little bit of a background too. I had probably 7 or 8 messages today. I had a couple yesterday about, hey, you know, some of the other Olympus guys are doing a toilet paper roll challenge and this and that. You know, look, there's something I want to try and make you guys understand without me sounding like some arrogant jerk, because that is not my goal. I'm not going to do challenges. Not where I'm competing against another photographer. Ever. If you guys listen to the things that I talk about, I've talked about the fact that I won't photograph models that are being photographed by other people. In other words, I'd rather not work with a model. I'd rather work with somebody that's not going to show up in front of 70 other cameras, because then I'm not competing with anyone. Then my work stands out as unique, as different. I don't do trends. I don't overpower the sun. I don't have to use high-speed sync, because then I just look like everybody else that's doing it, because everybody's doing it, because it's a trend. So, yeah, a bunch of guys with really tiny YouTube channels decide, I'm going to shoot a roll of toilet paper, okay, and then I'm going to challenge other YouTubers. They're doing it because they want bigger YouTubers like me to get them traffic. They're doing it in good intention to try and teach people stuff, but I'm not going to compete with people. This is not a competition. What do you guys hear me say all the time? Photography, it's not a competition. It's a passion to be shared. So my point is, folks, don't ask me to do videos that somebody else is doing. I actually am insulted by that, because I try to teach you guys to be creative, to think outside the box, to do something different. You know, I could have done the Stuck at Home Challenge and one day photographed, you know, a person by a window, and the next day taken a picture of an apple sitting on a table. The same stuff that you see all the photo blogs talking about. I could have done that crap, right? But what did I do? I picked the one thing that nobody else is doing. Nobody else is doing. And I picked it first because I had this challenge before anybody else did. But I picked something that was completely out of the box because it challenges people. It's about educating. I'm about education first. Sure, every now and then there's entertainment. We have a little bit of fun. But I'm about teaching and educating. So I love you guys, but don't ask me to do challenges. Don't ask me to do the same crap that everybody else is doing. If you saw it somewhere else, you saw it somewhere else. Go enjoy it. I'm not the only option, right? But don't ask me to do it. I'm smart enough not to compete with someone else. That's how I've survived for darn near 50 years as a photographer, by not competing. You should take that piece of advice. If you want to make money as a photographer, if you want to stand out as a photographer, you should take that piece of advice. So I'm trying to be arrogant, and I'm sorry if you feel that I am. I'm trying to make you guys understand. Be unique. Do your own thing. Take my challenge and find a way to make these ideas your own. That's the real, and for me, honestly, that's the joy in photography. It's being able to create something that is mine. It doesn't look like what somebody else did. It doesn't look like the next guy. It's mine. Lynn, thank you so much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. And seriously, guys, I love you, but spinning wheels, am I going to do any DIY videos? Yeah, when the virus is done, I'll go back to doing my regular videos. But you got to understand, so spinning wheels, same thing. Like, I do DIY videos when I have something DIY to share. Right now, honestly, I don't have any ideas sitting around. So when I have one, I'll share it, which I always do, okay? But you guys, I'm not kidding. So who was it? Who was the young photographer that I gave that piece of advice to? For Hans. You guys need to all take the same piece of advice I gave to Hans. I'm really serious. Stop watching so much YouTube. You know, it's the challenge that I have on YouTube. It's nice when people are here, but I'd actually be every bit as happy if they weren't here, if they were really shooting, really working and trying. Put the effort in, okay? So anyway, gang, seriously, thank you. I'm sorry for my little rant. It's because I want to see you all improve. I did this challenge when this all started because I realized that a lot of people would struggle. They would put down their cameras and they would not use the cameras. And there's a selfish side too. Full disclosure. I did it to keep me away from the news so I can't go crazy, right? But the fact of the matter is, I want to see you guys taking pictures. Because so many of these questions that you ask, you'll solve yourself if you just go pick up your camera. You will. That's how I learned. That's how most photographers in my generation learned. And most photographers in a generation behind me, that's how they learned. Now that we get the internet, we all get a little bit lazy. I get lazy. Same thing. So, trust me. Get out there, pick up the camera, and shoot. And gang, whatever you do, please remember.
Thanks for watching another live episode of TOGCHAT. Now, pick up that camera and shoot something, because your best shot is your next shot. So keep learning, keep thinking, and keep shooting. Adios.